Okay, you're either in one of two camps. You either have only heard like how Japan is like this really awesome anime, sparkly place with like konbinis and everyone's super polite and it's just so cool. Or you focus on like stories of how people die from overworking, how no one votes, how the politics are going down the drain, how salaries have stagnated for 20 years. So you're one of those probably, and I'm here to tell you it is both. You're both right and wrong. I've lived in Japan now for over 7 years somehow. I've sold my youth to this country, and so I have opinions. I've made similar videos like this, but you know, I've been thinking, and today I present to you 10 things that people just don't really tell you, or you might not realize about moving to Japan until you've done it and you've lived here for 7 years. Huh, and then you're like me. I'm in black today because I'm mourning my youth. Okay, first, salaries are low, and they're low for everyone, not just English teachers. Yay! Maybe you've looked up the English teaching salary, seen that it's about like 30,000 USD a year. We're like, okay, well, that's okay for my first year or two teaching. After that, I'll change into a better job with a lot more money. Will you though? Unfortunately, the salary situation in Japan across the board is not super good. I'll put the average salary here on the screen. I talk about it a lot because it really makes me sad because I get paid in Japanese yen because I live here, and it's kind of pathetic, especially when you're a first-year employee, which you'd probably be treated as if you're moving to Japan in your 20s. Your take-home salary will be something like 2,000 bucks a month, maybe less. It's not great. And yes, I'm talking about like an office job with a college degree. That being said, okay guys, a lot of this video is gonna be a little bit negative, but just stick with me here. It is very possible to get stuck into that rut, and no, you will probably never make as much money as you could be making in the US, for example, or maybe your home country, I don't know where you're from. However, you can afford a better quality of life here with less money. I'm gonna acknowledge that. That being said, the salary you're going to be receiving probably as a new English teacher, it's not going to give you that. I'm just being honest. That being said, if you do hold out, if you learn Japanese, you know, you hold out for 10 years and all that, you might be okay. You're still not going to be making the money you want though. Similarly, next, you need Japanese, guys. You need to speak Japanese. Unless you're moving here like on one of those expat packages where like it's like 40-year-old men bringing their families over. Your quality of life, if you learn Japanese, is going to be so much better. I promise, I promise, I promise you. Every little bit of Japanese you learn from zero is gonna make a huge difference. You don't need it at first. It's fine if you come over here and you don't speak any Japanese. No one really expects you to at first. But you know, let's say a few years pass, you still can't like read the menu. It's not great. And it's gonna affect you mentally, maybe, because you're gonna realize how you are very, very dependent on other people, even though you are 28 or whatever. I don't know, some people kind of gloss over this and they're like, you don't need Japanese, you can get by with English. It's true, you can get by with English, especially in Tokyo. I know a lot of people who've lived here for many years who don't speak like any Japanese or just like very, very little. I don't know. I wouldn't want that to be me. I'm not saying you need to be like fluent, but you know, like a little bit. Also, if you do want to get a different job that isn't English teaching, you're probably gonna need Japanese. It's not always the case, but you're probably gonna at least need conversational Japanese. Next, you're thinking, okay, Allison, that sounds great. I'm gonna move there and it's just gonna kind of happen. I'm just gonna pick it up. Unfortunately, that's not really the case for a lot of people, especially with Japanese, if your native language is English, especially because it's very, very different language. You have to put in a lot of effort and a lot of hours into studying Japanese. Yes, you will pick up things here and there, and of course living here helps, but you have to study on your own or it's not gonna happen. So something I never really thought about until I did it is when you move into an apartment here, it is A, super expensive, and B, there's like nothing included. Okay, so let's start with A. If you are moving into a normal Japanese apartment, expect to spend maybe 5 times a month's rent on initial move-in fees. Could be more, could be less, depends on the place. I'd say prepare for at least 6 months rent upfront. Some of that will be deposit, but a lot of that you're not gonna see ever again. There are some exceptions where you can get apartments with really low moving fees, but like generally speaking, this is like the normal price to rent a normal apartment here, which is also why I recommend people move into like share houses or like monthly rent places at first, because yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then the B part of that is, okay, I'm American, as we've established. I think if you're European, you're gonna have a different opinion than me, but like in America, apartments come with like a fridge, oven, stove, lights. They don't come with that here, not necessarily. The cheaper the apartment is, like the kind of older, cheaper places especially, basically come with nothing, not even a stove. The newer-ish, nicer places usually do come with a stove, come with an air conditioner too. Mine came with lighting as well. What a blessing. But yeah, the only thing guaranteed I think your apartment has to have is in Tokyo. I think by law, the apartments have to have at least one air conditioner installed. Outside of Tokyo, I don't think that's the case. But yeah, like my first apartment in the countryside, it did not come with anything. You have to buy the stove, buy the fridge, buy the lights, buy the air conditioner, you know, everything. You have to basically buy everything. And something else I didn't realize when moving to Japan would be that you actually can't watch most anime here with English subtitles. And a ton of the content that I like to watch back at home in the US is blocked here, or it's not available on any of the services I have. And that is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, NordVPN. So I've been using NordVPN for many years now, but if you don't know what it is a VPN service that protects your private and personal information. So this lets you browse the internet safely, you don't have to worry. And one of my favorite features personally is that you can change your IP address so that you can make yourself look like you're in almost any country around the world. This means you can enjoy the content from all of these countries. You can enjoy the Netflix catalog from like everywhere, and you can keep your Crunchyroll subscription so you can watch anime with subtitles while you're in Japan. Because in Japan, they kind of block everything that has English subtitles. There's some stuff on Netflix, but it's really not that much. You cannot access Crunchyroll from Japan unless you're using a VPN, which is what I do. Not only that, but Japanese internet security is very iffy if you couldn't get that already from the rest of the video. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in yourself, I encourage you to try NordVPN out risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee through my link at nordvpn.com/Allison in Tokyo, where right now every purchase of a 2-year plan gets an extra 4 months free. So thank you, NordVPN. Next, the bureaucracy. I'm sure you've heard about how awful it is in Japan before. I don't think this is news to anyone probably, but it's worse than you think. I don't know how, it just manages to be even worse. More mind-numbing and illogical than you could think. I don't know how, I don't know. If you're from Germany, maybe Japan's great, I don't know. But you have to go to various government offices and facilities for so many little things, especially when you first move here. You're gonna be living there for like your first week. It's everywhere, it's endless, you have to go a lot. For example, I'm gonna move out of this place soon. I have to go to the ward office to deregister my address, change my identification cards, get a piece or two of paper issued. Then I have to go to a different ward office when I do move, re-register my address, hand in all these pieces of papers, get all my new card registered with my new address, etc. It's just so many things that could be digital, but it's not. So many things are still done by paper and there's no digital option. And then there are some things that are digital, but whatever is digital looks like it's from a website from 2004, even though it was probably just built by a very expensive team somewhere in 2023. That's the Japanese government. Also, in line with that, you still need a freaking Hanko stamp to stamp everything. You get off the plane in Japan, this is one of the first things you need to get. It's just a stamp with my name on it. You can copy, I don't care. It just says Allison, and I have to stamp so many documents with this at the beginning, especially. Nowadays, I don't need this that much, but you will. You'll always need this. And it's ridiculous. Your signature does not work for everything. I don't know why. This is like a $10 stamp. I could just go make a new one. I don't know. Okay, sorry, we're very negative right now. We're gonna continue with that. People aren't actually that kind in Japan, or even polite, you could say. Okay, stay with me. Okay, this is especially for Tokyo. People in Tokyo will pretend to be polite. They couldn't care less about you. They don't want to help you. They're just being polite in like a very tatemae, like just appearances only way, because that's what's expected of them, to act like socially. There's also plenty of rude people in Japan. There's so many propaganda things on the internet that are like, Japanese people are so kind, they're so omotenashi. Some of them, yes, of course. I've met so many nice, like genuinely nice, kind, polite Japanese people. Do not get me wrong. The majority of people I meet here are very lovely people. But what I'm trying to say is that not everyone is like that. Like people who are just like mean, rude, don't like you exist. So similar to that, there's a lot of discrimination and it unfortunately just seems to be getting even worse. So this is honestly probably one of the most disappointing, heartbreaking almost trends that I've noticed in Japan lately, that, well, any foreigner in Japan has noticed lately, is that the government especially is becoming increasingly anti-foreigner, anti-immigrant every year, especially with the new PM. I don't know, we'll see what she does, but so far it's not looking good. She's saying she's gonna increase the visa fees 10 times. People can't afford that. So in addition to just, I don't know, the hardships for foreigners increasing on like a political system level agenda, the large majority of people you meet, they're not gonna say they're anti-immigrant. They're not gonna say they want you out of the country to your face. They'll say it online. I'm sure I'm gonna get comments like that. Just close the freaking page if you don't wanna hear this. And if you post kuni ni kaere, I'm gonna block you. Freaking losers. But yeah, the majority of people, they're very nice. They're gonna be very kind to you and they don't even realize, I don't think, what they're really voting for, like what they're in support of. I have unfortunately watched multiple of my Japanese friends who are, you know, very global people. Like they speak foreign languages, they go abroad often, they've lived abroad, and yet they're supporting political agendas that I'm just not seeing how they're supporting. I don't get, they're like, what they're hearing is not what I'm hearing, because so many Japanese people think, I'm not against all immigrants. You're fine, Allison. You're fine. But you can't do that. You know, you can't choose who you want to support one by one. That's not how the law works. This is a very touchy subject, I know, but it's something that I think really needs to be addressed, especially because the climate is not looking good here. You're probably not gonna like be subject to like hate speech, or like no one's gonna attack you on the street, probably. But it's certainly not a welcoming environment, especially compared to when I first came. I mean, not like they were like rolling out the red carpet or anything, but you know. Next, work culture can be crushing. Like the overtime stuff you see, the people who die from overwork, that's true. It doesn't have to be. For you, at least. It's not always true, is what I'm trying to say. There are plenty of evil companies. In Japanese, they call it like black or white companies. Like black is the bad companies. And if you work at these, or if like your boss is like this, you're working at the office every day till 10, and it's just like a bad environment in general. But this is not the case for all jobs. You can 100% find jobs that are fine. I'm not saying you're gonna find like a good job, like in terms of, you know, work-life balance and everything like that. But compared to like 20 years ago, I think work culture here is much better. People do go home, especially younger people. They kind of know where to draw the line more, I think, nowadays. And I have a lot of coworkers. I work in a Japanese office, okay? I do have a lot of coworkers who stay late every single day, but it's not really because anyone's watching them or because they're forced to. I think it's just like a mindset thing. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I go home almost every day within 15 to 20 minutes of my in time, and I still have time to do YouTube and everything. So maybe you'll have to work through the trenches a bit, your first job or two even, but there is a brighter path somewhere out there. Japanese food can be very unhealthy. I see a lot of people online who talk about how healthy Japanese food is, how they're gonna lose weight as soon as they go to Japan. Japanese food can be very healthy. If you have like a Japanese housewife at home, doing all the grocery shopping every day, cooking from scratch every day, making you a balanced meal. But that doesn't mean you're gonna be eating that, especially if you're just moving here for the first time. I mean, look, I live alone. Do you think I'm cooking some balanced, nutritious meal every day? I'm definitely not. What a lot of people here do is they go either to the convenience store or the ready-made food at the grocery store, and the majority of these foods are gonna be carb heavy and fried foods. So be careful. Lastly, let's end on a good note. I think living in Tokyo especially is actually more convenient than the internet lets on a lot of the time. This is totally dependent on where you live. Okay, but you can easily find yourself in an apartment with like a 10-minute walk to a station. Tokyo is very well connected. I can go anywhere in the city in under an hour, and Tokyo is a big city, so I can go to events. I can see like any concert for any big music artist I want. There's so much shopping. There's so much food. There's convenience stores everywhere. That is true. And life here is just it's very easy to live. Like once you're actually living in the routine of daily life, it's kind of really easy to just vibe. So that's the video. Sorry if it was negative. The majority of what I post on my channel is positive. And I do like living here. Let's revisit what I said earlier. If you're thinking, Allison, why don't you just go back to America since you hate Japan so much? I don't. I like living here. That's why I'm still here. I just want people to realize some of the difficulties and some things are not all as they seem on the internet. Don't believe every TikTok you see, guys. So thank you for watching. Please like the video. Leave a comment down below. Which one of these points surprised you the most, or do you have anything else you want to discuss? Subscribe for more videos about Japan, and I will see you guys back here again soon.